Hello, everybody. Brand new week. Glad you're with us. Longshore and McKnight kicking it off here on a Monday. Looks like Barry is in his home studio, not traveling today, which is nice. I'm sure he feels good about that, having a little time there in Troy over the last 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, but it won't last. I'll be on the road later on this week in West Virginia.
Oh.
Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River, but I'm good. I'm glad to be home. Home baseball this past weekend. Troy won 2 out of 3 against Louisiana, the Ragin' Cajuns. Auburn won 2 out of 3 in baseball at Florida. Alabama lost 2 out of 3 on the road at Texas, but they did win the Sunday game to keep from getting swept. So we've gotten done with a lot of the particulars. Braves, keep rolling along.
Yeah.
But it's all a precursor to the big story over the weekend. I didn't see as much as I thought I would see, John, of the A-Day game on TighterInsider.com. They're talking about Morgan Wallen.
Yeah.
They're talking about, baseball team finally beating Texas for the first time in 122 years or something. I didn't really understand what they were saying about that. I can't really draw a bead on the winners and the losers from the Auburn A-Day game until I hear from TighterInsider.com, who goes over it with that fine-tooth
Well, the timing, a lot going on, obviously. Maybe they've focused their attention elsewhere. Who knows? I did dabble into a little Tighter Insider yesterday, along with Get a message board.
Oh, nice. That's probably the thing to do.
Which there was a lot of comments about Saturday's A-Day game at Jordan-Hare. A lot of stuff happening, obviously. I don't know what the Lady Tide softball team did over the weekend.
I'm on it. Hang on.
I think I did read where Alabama did beat Texas to at least win a game again in that series. I didn't know there'd been a long losing streak between the Tide and the Longhorns in baseball.
Well, see, you've got to understand the context. This is just what I heard. They beat Texas for the first time in 122 years, but they were only played 8 games.
Oh,
very
well.
You got to have.
It's not like, I don't know. It's not like it's the South's oldest continuous football rivalry, and they've been playing since beginning of time, since Columbus came over on the boat. So
it just kind of sounds better to say first time in 122 years.
That's pretty. Whoa, really? Oh, well, they've only played 8 times. Well, okay, all right. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, but there was that. So the big news over the day, one of them wasn't athletic, the Morgan Wallen concert in Tuscaloosa. I got several bits of correspondence about that. And from everything I've heard, it was well run. And when you're putting 100 and something thousand people in there, and I mean, it was, to me, from John's pictures, and no, I don't think John was there, I didn't see an empty seat anywhere, and including the field and all that. The food was plentiful. There were some lines, as you might imagine, trying to get 120,000, I don't know how many it was, in and out of a closed space, but that all went well. And, of course, 34,000 at the Auburn A-Day game.
Wow.
Which Alex Goley says, wow, this is great. I can't wait to see this place with 88,000 fans in it. Hopefully that's the case.
He'll get to see that.
Well, you won't get to see it in the first home game because that's going to be played in Atlanta. But I kind of hope to see it myself.
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, we've talked a lot about how loyal the Auburn fan base is no matter what. I mean, it's been few and far between SEC victories there at Jordan-Hare in the last several seasons, but hey, who's counting? They still show up, and I'm telling you, got to say something about that. The loyalty and the pride, it's not going anywhere. But no, I was not at the Morgan Wallen concert, but I had several operatives in the field that were.
Overall.
That let me know about it. My number 3 child, I tell you, nut doesn't fall far from the tree. I don't know how he gets up into that sweet level, but he's found a way.
Was that where that picture came from?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Nice job. That's got, I mean, chip off the old block. You try to teach him the ropes, try to give him a little insight, some advice. I could just see, in the living room one time with a dry erase board and a Longshore with that mortar board cap and the robes on and the pointers saying, now, when the ticket taker takes your ticket, just go on in. Whatever you do, don't duct tape it to your leg. Duct tape it to your sock or something like that, to where there's not a bulge on the side of your.
I'm amazed. I don't know. I don't know how he does it. I think I shared the story last fall. The missus and I were in Tuscaloosa and invited to sit in a box with a friend of ours, and we're looking forward to it. And obviously, that caught. I said, "Oh yeah, I'm all in." Yeah. We're walking to the game, and number 3 child is walking with us, and she says, "Well, where are you sitting?" And he goes, "In a box." And she says, "Well, we've only got 2 tickets for this box. He only invited us. He didn't invite you." He goes, "That's okay." And so we get up there to the queue where you go in.
Longshore-esque response. I'm not. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
So we get up there to the queue where you're going in to get checked and all that kind of stuff. And next thing I know, he is up there. I can see the wristband going on his wrist. We're probably 15 people behind him. They're still checking my phone to see if I've got a legitimate ticket to get in there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they even checked his. It was probably one of those, they've got my ticket back there kind of deals. That's the only thing I can figure. Gets the wristband. He's up there. I mean, it's pretty tight getting into that area because believe me, I've tried, but he's found a way. So, that was him. But, there again, as I said last week, I don't know a lot of Morgan Wallen tunes. The wife and I were driving home from down around the coast yesterday, and she was fiddling with the radio, and the Morgan Wallen channel, as I mentioned, is on satellite. And, this song's great. Oh, this one's even better. I mean, I never heard of it before. So, obviously, the younger demographic loves it, thinks it's great. But I will say this, Barry. Huge crowd, like a football atmosphere.
It's the first concert they've had at Bryant-Denny Stadium since I think before it was Bryant-Denny Stadium, something like that.
No, it was Bryant-Denny because I was in school. It was in the 80s, and the country group Alabama played. Okay. And I remember because I was in school when it happened. It's hard to believe it's been that long since they have had a concert there. But this was a lot different. When Alabama played, they just put a stage out there and they played. I mean, this thing was a full-on production. I mean, when I saw it, I'm thinking, now, wait a minute. When I saw Kenny Chesney in Charlotte, it looked like this. I mean, big stages, big walkouts, big video boards. I mean, it is a dadgum production. Speaking of Kenny Chesney,
yes,
as I mentioned, I was down around the coast today, around the Gulf of America in South Baldwin County, and the missus and I are driving to go have lunch on Saturday afternoon. I've got it on No Shoes Radio, which I do like on Sirius.
John lives that lifestyle as much as he can.
And there's a duo called Tommy and Kizzy. Kizzy is British. And they travel with Kenny, and every time he's on location, they're out there in the crowd, and they're talking to the fans, and they're kind of hyping everybody up about the big show. And so we're listening to it as we're driving, and she goes, "Well, we're so excited. Kenny's going to hit the stage about 3 o'clock this afternoon. We're at the Floribama." And I'm going, "You got to be kidding me." And I'm, going, "Wait a minute. How am I getting in here? How do we get in there?" I'm thinking, the more I thought about it, I thought, man, I'm sure the crowd's unbelievable. There's long lines. You can't park. But I thought, man, I wish I'd have known that. I would have jumped on that a little earlier to go see. He does this kind of stuff before he goes out on his big tour to kind of, get everybody warmed up and making sure they still got the timing and whatnot. But, yeah, so Kenny's at the Floribama. Morgan Wallen's in T-Town. And
some British person, who's –
Kizzy. Yeah, her name's Kizzy. But here's my thing, Barry.
Okay.
And there again, I was not there, but had videos and people were telling me all about it. But here's what I don't get. How do you think Kalen DeBoer feels seeing a video of Morgan Wallen walking down the tunnel at Bryant-Denny where the football players come out, and about halfway down, he points to the side, and there pops Nick Saban?
I was thinking the same thing. John and I did not rehearse this ahead of time because I thought that too. He walks out in front of, thousands and thousands and thousands of people at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Who does he want to get? The retired head football coach who has an office there. And
did they even ask Kalen DeBoer? Did they say, Coach, are you going to be in town Saturday night? We'd love for you to walk out with Morgan Wallen. No, I'm going to be in Seattle watching my daughter play softball.
Maybe, yeah. That's
I'm thinking, did they even ask him? I'm kind of thinking they didn't, because they probably would not have gotten the response that they got when Saban popped up on the video board, walking out there, and they're tapping the pole that says win on it, as the players do when they come out onto the field, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, but there again, Barry, son number 3 sends the video to me, and I'm watching it.
John sends it to me. It's that play, and again, it was in one of the skyboxes.
Yeah.
And it was packed. Skybox was packed. Stadium was packed. Hats off to Morgan Wallen, evidently, because
like I said, I'm not real familiar with the guy.
No.
But everybody is. But just think about this, folks. Big concert, big promotion. This guy's obviously a big country artist. He's coming out on stage, and he's joined by Nick Saban. What does Kalen DeBoer think about that? Man, I'm not sure they really like me around here because they're still latching on to this guy who's been retired for 3 seasons. What do you think?
I got to admit, that's the first thing I thought, because I saw a picture of Morgan Wallen walking out with Saban. If it was me and I was in that position, that's the only thing I can judge by. I'd have said, "Hey, Morgan," or whomever, why don't you lob a call to Kalen DeBoer? I've got his number. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks very much, but it would probably be better for us if you ask the head football coach. Evidently, Saban says, "Yeah, all right, absolutely, count me in. Where do I need to be?"
So I know there's a lot of investigative journalist types here in this state, and there have been for years, that dig into things like this, write articles about it.
Yeah.
There's one that's been written about the new addition at Jordan-Hare Stadium that I want to get into a little bit later as well. But somebody's got to find out. Was Kalen DeBoer even asked? Or did they just say, we know who still rules the roost over here.
We know what'll get a big round of applause.
Yeah. Well, we don't want Morgan Wallen walking out kind of in a downer atmosphere. If they showed me, the crowd goes, "Ooh." Last time I saw that guy, they got beat by 35.
I thought the same thing. Now, if you look, and we're going to talk about this a pretty good bit, if you look at the Auburn A-Day game, Troy's T-Day game, really well attended, a lot of fun. Spring practice is over at Troy. Not going to find a final score. I mean, we carried the T-Day broadcast on radio. The Auburn A-Day game was on radio. The Alabama A-Day game was on radio. Nobody televised it. So if you weren't there, you didn't get to see any of it live. We're not going to see a score of the Auburn A-Day game. That's not really the point. Alex Golesh says the real important things were we didn't get injured and we played physical and all of that. And generally, as is always the case, the returns are positive. Boy, this guy looked good, except from our buddy Ty. He says, I was wondering if John is still as confident about taking the over for Auburn wins this season after seeing the A-Day game on Saturday. Looks like we will have quarterback issues again.
Can I wait till after the first break to really dive into that, Ty? Because I see you working there, but I don't think I can give you a quick answer.
Evidently.
On it. But look, we're pacing the show out today, Ty. We're not giving it to you all right here.
It is A-Day. It's the end.
Yeah.
I guess he was there. He said, I saw a compilation video. That's compilation video, not copulation video, like John once said about the Barry Manilow album. He said, I saw a compilation video on YouTube of all Byron Brown's plays, and it didn't look as bad as I thought because the refs are not letting him run in many cases. So even so, a 50% completion percentage and picks. Ty says, he's not the second coming of Cam Newton, that's for sure, the way all the Auburn podcasts have been playing him up to be. He says, I like Tristan Tia, the backup quarterback who played well. It will be hard to say for sure because he was playing against the second string defense.
I did read an account, that, we didn't see a lot out of Cam Newton when he was played in his spring game. And I'm thinking, whoa, now, hold on. Let's tap the brakes. I know we're not. I know he's been compared to Dak Prescott, but I don't think you need to be comparing him to Cam Newton. He was, a one and only. Never seen anything like him before in my life. I don't think based on Byron Brown's stats from his days at South Florida, and not to say Cam had great stats coming into Auburn, don't get me wrong, but I just think that's a little bit too much too soon now.
Yeah, give him time. Although his stats were pretty good, total offense and all of that pretty good. Certainly, it appears like it has the chance to be an upgrade, but we'll get into it. We've got 2 hours here on the live show, and we will delve into every bit of it and a whole lot more coming up later on. The Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel, the Phantoms Daily Dog, and a lot more. Yeah. John Longshore, Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitcher's duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Get some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with one of their clinics and take advantage of physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solution services. Get back in the game, get back to work, and get back to life with Phoenix Physical Therapy. To find a location near you and to schedule an appointment, go to phoenixphysicaltherapy.com. That's PhoenixPhysicalTherapy.com. All righty, welcome back in. About 20 minutes past the hour here on this Monday. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Tell all your friends, all your business associates, whomever it may be, to check us out. Longshore and McKnight, part of Yellowhammer News and yellowhammernews.com. You can check us out on the Yellowhammer News Facebook page. I know a lot of people watch us there. We greatly appreciate that. Our Facebook page, YouTube, X, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcast, wherever you view, wherever you listen. Just type in Longshore McKnight on the search bar and we will pop up. We really appreciate that. I know a lot of people pull it in through their Bluetooth in their vehicle and listen. So really appreciate that. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Couple of things on the chat line real quick. Wow. Jock itch is more popular than Kalen DeBoer. Man. Woo, really? Wow. Man.
We point out that Nick Saban seems, I wouldn't call it curious that he would do that, because we all kind of know about Saban and the draw and the pull and the hold that he has, that mystic chord of attraction for Alabama fans everywhere. And we were just wondering whether it maybe hurt Kalen DeBoer's feelings
and
a little bit.
Spring football was completed a week early. Well, actually, the last practice was Thursday.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe he went to go watch his daughter play softball. We talked about that.
Maybe that was it. That seems plausible. But Bob from Pike Road says, why would Morgan Wallen walk out with a coach that likely won't be there come December? Saban was definitely the obvious choice. Who cares what DeBoer thinks? Jock itch is more popular than Kalen DeBoer. That's obvious. That is obvious why Wallen made that decision.
Little note here. If you have jock itch, don't use the cream. Don't do it. Whew. You'll be going for that blow dryer and putting it on the cool setting. You got to go spray.
Yeah.
Much more comfortable. Oh, yeah.
Got
to go spray.
Even more graphic. Plainsman Preston says apparently bloody hemorrhoids are more popular than don't do that. Don't do that. Golly.
Man, okay. I just don't think people are going to be shedding any tears if, in fact, DeBoer's not the coach next year. I just don't. But it's way offsides. Jeff points out he's a smart man. Who are you going to hire? I mean, I'm with you, Jeff. I mean, I know these people might be a little unhappy. Just they're not
9 wins. We got 9.
But who you gonna hire? You always have to have that. This was a good question too, Barry, from Bill in Baltimore. I think this is interesting because I'd like to know the answer to this myself.
Well, in total transparency, Bill from Baltimore, he says, first of all, how is radio broadcasting the spring game? Are you more muted since it's such a unique setup? Excited at all? Now, I have done spring games at Alabama on television. I've done spring games at Auburn on television. I've done spring games at Troy on radio. I did not do the spring game at Troy. I set up all the equipment. Jerry Miller, Chris Blackshear Jr., Lewis Saint did the game on radio. And this is the reason why it's better lately, is because, again, you don't have a spring portal. The guys that you finish spring with are the guys that you know are going to be there in the fall unless they get in trouble or something. So in the past, especially when ESPN was televising games and stuff like that, you didn't really have a real game because you didn't want players to get stuff on film after spring and say, look, here's my 75-yard fumble return for a touchdown in the spring game. And they say, hey, he looks really good. Doesn't matter anymore because you can't transfer after spring. So now you can have legitimate games instead of, the egg toss or, pin the tail on the donkey or, Red Rover or something like that. So it's easier to broadcast. But again, you got a lot of guys that you either have never seen before or that you don't think you're going to see coming up in the fall, walk-ons and stuff like that who get a chance. So in that sense, I wouldn't say it's muted, but I would say that it is definitely different. Basically, what you need to do, and Andy Burcham did the Auburn spring game. He didn't go down to Gainesville to call baseball. I think Chris Stewart did the Alabama game a week and a half ago. Basically, you just want to call the names and fill some time, like Chris Blackshear, who does a fabulous job with the sideline reporting. You get a lot of interviews with him, with the quarterback, Goose Crowder, of course, with all the coaches and stuff like that. You get a lot of players' names out there. Hey, that's a good run by that walk-on, blah, 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 this and that. So, that's basically what it's all about. And it does mean more to the fans. I do think it's curious, and I don't have a good idea, a good answer as to why the games aren't televised. I mean, I'm a child of radio myself. Alabama's wasn't televised. Auburn's wasn't televised. Troy's wasn't televised. And it used to be every one of them was. And there's no reason that
I wonder that too.
To do that.
Because I got to think that a Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Tennessee, LSU spring game is going to get better ratings than a Birmingham Stallion, Orlando Renegade, whatever their name is, on Fox. And I'm going to get to that later in the day too. But maybe these athletic departments, football coaches don't want them televised. They don't want people seeing who they got. I mean, you're right. I mean, there's no spring portal, but make a note of that guy. We might want to go after him when the portal opens after the season next year. That guy looks like somebody we could use.
Or maybe they want to, drum up the attendance at the stadium. I'm not going to go this year. I'm just going to watch. You can listen to it, and that has a great effect and everything. But if you're going to watch it, you need to be there. But also, this was interesting as well to me about all of these spring games. Is none of them are televised. All of them are pretty well attended. But Alabama spring game, they didn't show a whole lot. The Auburn spring game, anybody who can come away with really solid program-changing observations about Auburn. Boy, that Tristan Tia, the backup quarterback, he looked good. Byron Brown, he came out, they all came out in a non-contact jersey, all the quarterbacks, except for Byron Brown, and he came out with a regular game jersey. Watch out, we're going to get to see him run. Well, no, they just had him out there in a game jersey because they wanted him to have some pictures taken of him in an actual Auburn uniform instead of that orange or that green jersey. So, I mean, he didn't get to run. You don't get to really see his full game. The offensive line, a couple of guys looked okay, but, I mean, are you hanging your hat on the offensive line? I like the game just because, you get to get out and the fans get to get out, and it's the end of spring practice. But it's like Alex Golesh said. He said, we didn't do a whole lot. There was nothing out of the ordinary. We just wanted everybody to hit each other and nobody to get hurt, and that's all that we did. And the fans, they eat that stuff up with a spoon. After the game, Golesh stayed until the last fan had an autograph. Same thing with a lot of the players. John, that's kind of the value of the whole
I think
thing
so.
More than
the fans come up. You want to make it special for them and, make them feel wanted. So give them an autograph, a photo op. I get it. Look, we talked about it last week. We've talked about it for years. Spring games really don't mean a lot to me of what I watch of them, which isn't a lot because they're not showing you a lot. There's a lot to do this summer. There's a lot to do in preseason camp before the opener. What you see Saturday, you're going to see something different. Now, Byron Brown threw 2 interceptions in the scrimmage. So what? Big deal. This kid I've never heard of looked great. Look at these stats. Big deal. So what?
It's against the third teamers. Yeah, stuff like that. You're right.
At least you know you got that guy. I never really heard much about this kid till I'm reading the accounts of it. And I'm going, that name kind of rings a bell. I have heard of that guy. I just hadn't heard from him in a while. But now, okay, we got this guy, in our back pocket. But Byron Brown's our guy. But don't worry, it's okay.
again, Troy won their series at home in baseball against Louisiana, the T-Day game, all of that. Alabama lost a series at Texas. The A-Day game was the week before. That's old news. Auburn wins baseball at Florida, which is the defending national champion, and they had a good, solid A-Day game. So that's basically it, except I need a ruling from you on this.
Okay.
All right. This is off the cuff. John's not heard this question. We haven't rehearsed it. Auburn women's tennis wins the SEC Women's Tennis Championship. Roll Toomer's Corner or no?
Well,
women's tennis beats LSU in the SEC Women's Tennis Championship final. I'm looking at auburntigers.com. It's the lead story, even over A-Day. There's confetti at wherever it was that they won it at.
Now, was this a singles or doubles match?
This was the whole team deal, singles, doubles,
okay,
all of that stuff.
Well, I
first SEC tournament title ever in Norman, Oklahoma. 2026 SEC Women's Tennis Championship.
Yeah.
Auburn defeated number 15 LSU 4-3.
Oh, it's a close one.
Toomer's Corner. What was it like last night? What will it be? Will they have an official Toomer's Corner rolling?
Well,
Chris the Bammer says yes.
I'll say this. Believe it or not, I was not aware of that till you just told me that the Lady Aubs won the SEC tennis. But I was informed over the weekend that South Carolina won equestrian. On the VIP text hotline, I was sent that. I went, ooh, man. Didn't realize that. I didn't even know South Carolina had an equestrian team.
Well, you only know of one school that does have an equestrian team. I think John may, if you really pressed him, may be able to guess Texas A&M or something. Auburn was number 1 in the country in equestrian, but South Carolina upset them in the semifinals down in Ocala, Florida. That was in the
Barry, I'm not sure what other school has a rowing program other than Alabama. And the only reason they got one is because the Black Warrior River separates Tuscaloosa from Northport.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's another school that has, maybe Vandy. I don't know. They seem like a rowing kind of school. But no, I did not realize that the Auburn ladies tennis team beat LSU. First ever, you said? First time ever?
First time, not the first time they've ever beaten LSU, but the first time they ever won SEC women's tennis championship.
Who's that tennis coach over there?
I don't know, but they need a raise.
Yeah. Now, did the Auburn women's tennis team beat Alabama's women's tennis team in a head-to-head match this year?
Oh, come on. There's more to the season. There's more to the existence of the program than
really
how they did against Alabama. They won the SEC championship. They beat everybody in the field. And what's the first thing that John asks?
Yeah.
Hey, did they beat Alabama? You told us before you need to broaden your horizons. It's not just about beating Alabama. It's winning championships, and Auburn did.
Totally agree. Beating your in-state rival, no big deal. Winning the conference, nice little bump. Winning the Natty, that's what it's all about. But as you say that, and we talked a little bit about that, I guess
Auburn just blew through. They got beat bad by Georgia about a month ago. They played in something called the Grand Slam Egg Jam in Auburn. Auburn and Alabama played on March the 28th, so about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And Auburn won that one 6-1 against an unranked Alabama.
Barry, that sounds like a score when I gave Tiffany Thompson all she could handle out there at Lagoon Park.
Yeah, that was 6-1, 6-love, or maybe it was the other way around.
I think it was the other way around.
Yeah. So Auburn will play in the NCAA's.
how I won that first that won that game, that one game.
She was laughing so hard. So that
was a tough afternoon. That was a tough one.
So Auburn wins in women's tennis. You got to roll Toomer's Corner. You got to roll.
Amazed. Have they not?
Have they or have they not? I do not know. Bob from Pike Road says, do you get a raise with winning the championship if your season is heavily in the red as far as dollars, inflows and outflows, heavily in the red? I say you get a raise.
Yeah, I think so.
You know,
yeah. I don't know, Bob. I mean, they ran the swimming and diving coach, and he was winning championships left and right. So
I didn't know this until I read the write-up about equestrian losing to South Carolina in the semifinals. And Auburn was number one in equestrian all year. That it wasn't the same coach. It wasn't Greg Williams. Did he retire? What's going on here? Hang on to that guy. Yeah, obviously, because in a university, if you end up having the best botany class grades that you've ever had, if you're an instructor in finite math or botany or in math, and you consistently have the top grades in comparison with other schools, you're going to get a raise. You're going to get a raise. They want to keep you as an instructor or an assistant professor or a dean or something like that.
Yeah.
Even though they ain't selling tickets to your math class. They're not taking NIL money. Hey, hang on. We're giving that professor tenure. That all those Petri dishes, all those Bunsen burners, they're not turning a profit in that class. How are we giving this person a raise? It ain't like that, Bob.
I will say this, though. If that professor is being courted by another school, they're not going to pay $26 million in a buyout to get him. That ain't going to happen. It does seem to happen in sports, though. All right,
yeah,
so when we come back, somebody had asked me, hey, John, do you still think Auburn can go 8-4, 9-3 after what you saw in the A-Day?
Yeah.
I'm going to address that when we come back. Also, is it not all about beating your in-state rival?
Auburn wins the SEC championship in women's tennis. They never did, and obviously we're not going to make this the centerpiece of our entire show. One of the first questions from John, hey, did they beat Alabama?
Well, we're going to address that in a different light, not women's tennis, but in something else, because I don't know. I've always said it's this bigger fish to fry than your in-state rival, but some programs seem to harp on one particular team. Practice sessions devoted to it, slogans on the back wall of a meeting room in the football facility, and now something new. And we'll tell you about it when
publicly, yes, but privately on message boards and amongst each other. It's
what individuals do compared to what an organization does.
Different stuff, different levels.
Yeah.
It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Prattville Carpet is the most trusted name in flooring in the River region. Ray Bowles and his staff have an extensive line of Mohawk, stain-resistant carpeting in all the latest styles and colors. Prattville Carpet also has hardwood, vinyl, and ceramic tile for all of your flooring needs. Professionally installed at the absolute lowest prices. Take advantage of cash and carry vinyl plank at just $239 a foot. Call them today to set up your free measurement for your home, office, lake house, hunting camp, or wherever you need flooring. 285-8117. That's 285-8117. Or drop by 2201 Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville for Prattville Carpet.
It doesn't matter if you're running drills at the park, playing pickup on a Saturday, or sinking the final putt. When you compete with your friends with Michelob Ultra on the line, competition isn't that friendly. The trash talk, next level. And the stakes, those are crystal clear. With only 95 calories and superior smooth taste, it's the ultimate trophy. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
Okay, back at it about 20 minutes to the top of the hour on this Monday. So glad you're with us here today. Hope your day's going well. Barry, I saw something over the weekend.
Yeah.
A video presentation, I guess you would call it, of the new north end zone at Jordan-Hare Stadium. And I'm going to use this word because I really want to emphasize it. It looks damn good. I mean, I was overly impressed with the video presentation. And I know they doll it up. I mean, it might not look that great when it's all built and done, but I think it's going to be pretty dadgum close.
So all this is like AI video mock-up, through of Jordan-Hare Stadium.
That's right.
$323 million, which was my house number when I lived in Auburn. I appreciate that little,
You know, I'm sure you can go to Auburn Undercover, and I think that's where I might have seen it. Right. But, I talked about all we could see was an exterior version of it. Well, this is, you see the interior, what it looks like inside Jordan-Hare, and then you get to see all of the different parts of it. And there's a lot in this new edition, but it looks great. And, of course, that's part of the campus in the stadium that just has never really looked that good. It's kind of a hole back there.
Yeah, and it's drab. You see girders and steel, and never really was all that ornamental.
And I think it's going to connect the campus better, and people can walk to and fro. I mean, it just wasn't an easy area to get around.
True,
it just was kind of cluttered in a hole. So there again, it looks really impressive. The video presentation of it, they did a great job. And there's a lot of meeting spaces. There's a lot of different seating areas. There again, that's what college athletics and really athletics as a whole, particularly in the NFL and the NBA and Major League Baseball. I don't want to say the event is secondary, but there's so many other things that they're doing to make the fan experience so much more enjoyable. Well, and I get it. It's really only available to a smaller percentage of fans because there is a price tag that goes along with it. I mean, you can still sit on the 20 in the upper deck in the scorching sun or the stinging rain, depending on the weather that day. But they realize there is a need and a customer base that wants a more premium experience, and you've seen it in college campuses, college stadiums, in professional stadiums, and I don't think they've missed a trick on this one because there again, in watching this video presentation, they didn't seem to miss anything. They got everything that they need in this facility.
Yeah, and bear in mind, John used two E words that are key. The event versus the experience. The event kind of takes care of itself. If you go over to our chat line, I am just now throwing on a link to what they call the fly-through that you can take a look at. So go to the chat line and check that out, and it'll give you a look of what John's talking about. But it is the experience more than anything else, I think, that is what this is about. John mentions meeting rooms. That's going to be for the whole campus. That's going to be for Greek groups and alumni things. Goodbye, Ed Teague. It's going to be for fraternity stuff and civic things as well. But that's what it's for. People say, well, there are a lot of it, you can't even see the game. Well, that ain't the
no doubt. It's interesting because one of the areas that I saw in this video It's very similar to the zone in Tuscaloosa, and they use that all the time. And it's in both end zones, and it's a big, during game day, it's a big space where people go through a buffet line and they watch other games and they mingle amongst each other and they go to their liquor locker and make a drink and come back and eat and socialize there, or they walk out and watch the game and sit out and watch the game. And obviously there's only 8 games a year there, so they're using this for a lot of meeting and banquet and things of that nature, which is very, very a good use of space.
I haven't seen.
We're going to the stadium tonight. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't. And the stadium will be more than just the 5 or 6 or 7 home games they have every year. I haven't seen the fly through. Again, it's a mock-up. It's not real, but a fly through of what the new $323 million North End Zone improvement is going to be. But Bill from Baltimore says, I'm sure John loves the use of the old dinky scoreboard in the North End Zone as part of the club inside of the new. Are they doing that?
I've got a list of things here that I thought were interesting. And there again, I mentioned that zone area. I don't know what that area is called, but it's going to be very it's going to be a good use of space. They've also got a rooftop area where the new scoreboard has been erected, similar to what is in Jerry World. There's a standing room only area where they've got
I've been there,
in a bar, and you can stand. There's no seating. It's standing room only. I thought that was a good use of that space on the rooftop there where the scoreboard is. But there's other areas that caught my attention, Barry. In this new facility, there will be an area called Shug's Marketplace, similar to a food court in a mall, a lot of different areas to go get concessions and whatnot. Shug's Marketplace. Then there's another area called Pat's Place. Want to take a guess what it is?
Pat Washington, former Auburn quarterback. Is Pat's Place... It's not where you can buy seersucker pants.
When you watch this video, Barry, see what you thought. To me, it looks like a bar. And I thought, wow, how appropriately named. Pat's Place. But it looks very much like a bar. But here's the one that got me. And I think this is great because, in the end zones at Gurn here, you could just jump over the wall and get on the field easily. So they're kind of removing that area in the north end zone. I don't know if they're going to do it in the south. They probably should. And they're going to be field suites there, which they're at Jerry World. They're over in Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta.
Yeah. These are luxury boxes, but they're on field level. I did see something about that.
Now, you might be looking at the back of somebody's head that's standing in the end zone, but people don't seem to mind. They just look up at the video board. So what? But you're right there on the field, and people want to pay for it and get a suite there. That's in the north end zone, and that will be known, Barry, as the Kick Six Field Suite.
I did hear about that.
So if beating your in-state rival is not a big deal, why would they name it that? Didn't 2 weeks prior to that Kick Six, they have a miraculous win against
Georgia, the oldest continuous rivalry in the Deep South? Maybe there's something somewhere there for that.
Once again,
Ricardo's rack or something. I don't know.
Why they just don't emphasize that great tradition, long-running rivalry with Georgia. I mean, there's no practice period that I know of that has anything to do with that rivalry.
Is that not maybe arguably the most iconic play in college football history as a whole?
Yeah, the Georgia game, unbelievable. I'm still trying to figure out what those defensive backs were doing.
The snatching victory at the end of regulation to knock the defending champions out of another and get yourselves into that position. The most impactful, exciting play.
to my knowledge, do they have a Rory Turner, I waxed that dude area at Bryant-Denny?
What to go from whatever it was, 4-6 to 5-6 that year?
Do they have a Van Tiffen tower for the field goal that knocked Auburn to beat Auburn in 80?
Will there be
a
4th and 31?
Yeah.
Lounge or something?
Yeah. I mean, do they ever do anything? No. It's like, okay, we've gotten over that hurdle. What's next? Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking kick 6 field suites. And I'm thinking, if I'm Georgia, I'm thinking, do they just think we're chopped liver over here? Do they not ever talk about, we're told it's a huge, big robbery. There again, I never hear Georgia people talk about it. Auburn's they're so over Auburn, it takes 2 to tell it.
Well, I mean,
but
it
at
hasn't
least
been very
kind of
competitive.
give me, Ricardo Lewis, give him a little love. It's kind of like Gus Malzahn. Gene Chizik. I mean, give this guy some love. But no, there again, should they not have something? They got Shug's Marketplace. They got Pat's Place Bar. Can they not have something for Gene Chizik, who won him a national championship?
Yeah. Didn't Tommy Tuberville used to own a catfish place in Arkansas back when he was just coming up? It was called Tubby's Place or something, and they had pond water, which was really like cherry Kool-Aid or something like that.
I guess. And there again, I don't want to discount at all, because I think this is extremely impressive. What I've seen of it, I was really blown away. I thought, wow, this is very, very impressive. This is going to be really nice. And I've always said it. It's the most electric atmosphere I've ever been to for a football game, loudest venue I've ever been to. And I've been to Baton Rouge, been to Knoxville, been to them all. Nothing is as loud and as electric as Jordan-Hare, even for non-Alabama games. I mean, I've been over there for other teams. It's not just Iron Bowls.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I've been there a million times.
It doesn't matter that they're like, 2-15 in SEC play over the last several seasons. Don't matter. So what? Big deal. They get it going over there. And I think this is going to be, because that's an area of the stadium that's, to me, always been an eyesore. And they've known it. And now they're doing something about it. It's going to look great. It's going to be very functional.
To Auburn's credit on this, and, I have heard many wonderful things about it. It's a true game changer for Auburn. I'm not talking about I'm talking about Auburn for the university, a great tool for growth there. But I would like to think that all of the planning that's involved in this, and all of the blueprints, and all of the projected budgets by the construction people, and all of the marketing stuff, and somebody came together to this, whatever committee is overseeing this at Auburn, and had a list. Okay, we're going to have a bar here. We're going to have a lunch counter here. We're going to have a viewing place here where everybody can kind of mingle and congregate. And here's what we propose to market these areas as. The Ricardo Lewis Lounge. No. Okay. So here's what it is. It's the Bama Punt Lounge. Yeah. This place is going to be the 1716 lunch counter. This place here is going to be the Wrestling with Those Angels restroom. This over here will be, give me one, John. Give me one.
Camback counter over
the Camback counter, something like that. And they looked at it and they said, oh, man, we can't have every one of them to be Alabama-based. Yeah. All right, let's call this one Pat's Place. Let's call this one Shug's Marketplace.
Yeah.
Let's call this one something else. And then we'll just have like the kick, I would like to think that Auburn voted down about 3 of those. No, we can't have the Bama punt. No, we can't have the 17-16. No, we can't have the Camback cafeteria or anything like that. Let's just have one. Maybe it was that. Maybe they said, well, we'll have just one.
You reeled off so many interesting moments in Iron Bowl history that were positives for Auburn. What are some other great plays in Auburn football history that the fans revel about and talk about?
Of course.
Ricardo Lewis against Georgia 2 weeks earlier. I mean, that's one you still see from time to time. But, I guess Michael Dyer not being down against Oregon. And, they did play Oregon and beat them for the national championship.
That's
Auburn
big.
Fans might have forgotten.
The Cam Newton run against LSU, Smokey Hodge stoning Reggie Cobb at the goal line in the Tennessee
Smokey
game.
Hodge, love that name.
Calvin Jackson's 97-yard interception return in the Florida game. Frank Sanders' touchdown catch from Patrick Nix in the Florida game.
Didn't Patrick Nix come in and
in relief of an injured Stan White
in the Iron Bowl
legend? Well, yeah, he did that too.
Yeah,
he did that too. So there's a lot of them. I would like to see that kind of
the punt Bama punt balcony. That'd be a good one up there in that standing room only area. That could be the punt Bama punt balcony.
But Preston's coming up with stuff. Bow over the top. No, Preston, that was in an Iron Bowl. Lawyer Tillman around the end. No, Preston, that was in the Iron Bowl too. We're trying to think of stuff that isn't Iron Bowl.
Here's a good one. Barry, my VIP text line's coming up with some good one. The Pistol at the Crystal, where they sell Crystal burgers in the stadium.
Actually,
it was a shotgun, not a pistol.
Yeah, the Lorenzo Diamond. Gosh, you could have the double Twilita Lounge or something, How
about the Al Del Greco field goal corner? I saw Al Del Greco kick 3 field goals against Michigan in the Sugar Bowl. Yes, I was there at that game.
And that was not at Jordan-Hare Stadium.
It was in the Superdome.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think, when you're sitting around with a bunch of your Auburn friends, and I've got a bunch, I'm going to ask them next time I see them.
What would you have?
Can you give me a list of the top 10 just greatest plays in Auburn history? Or the last 30 years, whatever. We don't want to go – if you want to go back to punt, Bama, punt, you could probably do that too. But
there's
so many of them that involve Alabama. I want to know some other games.
They had that touchdown late to just edge out Dante Culpepper in UCF that year.
Hey, didn't they come back to beat Jacksonville State late on a big play?
Yeah, the Barrett Trotter game.
Yeah.
Gosh, I can sit there and I can think of a bunch of them that was not.
How did Jackson State lose that game?
Jacksonville State. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Andy Fuller's touchdown against Florida. Yeah, that was good stuff. Trey Smith's touchdown run against. No, scratch that. That was against Alabama.
Barry, I'm trying to think because to me, it's the other teams having plays to beat Auburn. Kerwin Bell brought the Gators back in Gainesville back in the 80s.
Yeah, my brother Mike and I were watching that game from Beard Eaves Coliseum. My brother was at school at the time, and he was wearing his Kerwin Bell jersey.
I was sitting on the bar listening to Jim Fife do the broadcast.
Yeah.
Alabama had an off week, and we went down to the beach and had a little party that weekend and listened to that game on the beach.
So I get it. I understand.
TJ Finley against Georgia State. I forgot. What was that game?
Oh, yeah. That was when Bo Nix was totally ineffective, and they were about to lose that game big as day. And TJ Finley, who was only on his second school out of 7, he came in and he won that game big as anything.
That's a good one, Bob.
Yeah, that's
a good one.
Chris the Bammer. Well, lots of stuff. I do love the thing. I'm going to take a look at it. It is a game changer for Auburn. Years from now,
it looks good.
Young people now are going to be old fogies and say, I remember back whenever they used to have just a corrugated tin end zone with a bunch of light bulbs in the scoreboard and half of them were out and everything. Now look at it. It's going to be a very
when you see
$323 million, it better be. It's a third of $1 billion.
When you see the interior view, what I noticed, there are a lot of different looking seating areas. Just different, there's like what looks like a suite here, and this looks like some VIP seating area here. And one of them I noticed, they were like a little work desk in between the seats. So like you could almost put a laptop on it. So or maybe you put your drink on it or your food on it, which I thought, that's a good idea. if you're at a game, you don't want to eat with your food in your lap. I don't eat at football games. To me, it's just too much work. Eat before you go.
It's too much. It's too expensive.
It's too expensive. And well, if you're sitting there, you're going through a buffet. You've already paid for it. But if people that bring those greasy nachos back to the seat, I'm thinking, how are you going to eat these and watch the game? Because you're getting up, getting down, getting up, getting down. So I thought, well, this is kind of neat. Got a little area where you can put your food or wherever your, laptop or whatever. I thought that's pretty cool. But anyway, there's a lot of different seating areas that I noticed. Different types, I guess is the best way to put it, there at this new facility. So yeah, I think it looks good. I was impressed. I will say that. It looked real good.
Hour number 2 of our live show is coming up. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information. Hey, you want your property looking its very best this spring and summer, and River Region Straw has premium long needle pine straw to make that property pop. You're not buying sticks, stems, or pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the region, full of color that will last all season long. And now River Region Straw has a 4th location in Chelsea on Highway 280 to go along with their locations here in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn. No order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. To get your River Region Straw, drop by any of their 4 locations or give Kenny a call or text today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959, and have the best-looking property this spring and summer with straw from River Region Straw. All righty, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us on this Monday. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate that. And, of course, check us out at Yellowhammer News and yellowhammernews.com, their Facebook page. A lot of people certainly check us out there. We really appreciate it. Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, Spotify, iTunes. So many ways to check us out. We really appreciate it. Just type in Longshore and McKnight in that search bar, and we will pop up.
Now, here on the program today, what we've been talking about, Auburn A Day, 34,000, Morgan Wallen concert in Tuscaloosa. I don't know what it was. I mean, the place seats, 101?
Yes.
And there were, I didn't see an empty seat out there. There were a ton of people on field level. What do you do to gratify the fans? You have Morgan Wallen walk out with Nick Saban. Now, Nick Saban
I've had a lot of people,
is an Eagles guy. Give him, does he listen to Morgan Wallen? Does it matter? Or did he get paid to do it?
Well, I understand.
Did he at least say, hey, Morgan, I tell you what, it'd probably be, I appreciate it, but it'd probably be better if you called Kalen and let Kalen and just see if Kalen DeBoer. He's our football DeBoer. Call him up.
Morgan Wallen production, and they had control of everything that happened.
Right.
I don't know if they had control of telling Alabama who's going to walk out there with him. And I find that a little, there again, Saban could have turned him down. He ain't got to do it. But maybe DeBoer was out of town. But I just thought it was interesting that a guy that hadn't for this upcoming fall will be 3 years out of the game. Obviously beloved. There's no doubt about it.
No question.
But there is a current head football coach up there right now. I don't know. What did it Would the show not have been as good if Morgan Wallen just walked out there by himself? I think it would have been. I don't think anybody would have noticed, but that was just me. First thing I know, whoa, hey, where's the current head coach?
Why him? Now, I've done some research, and I'm trying to think, we're not jumping to conclusions. We're just asking questions for conversation. I do know this, that the University of Washington softball team had a series this past weekend against the number 18 Oregon Ducks in Eugene.
A border war.
And Washington lost all 3.
Ooh.
So maybe DeBoer was... Maybe he was in Eugene.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to, it's been a long spring practice. He's got a lot of things to correct. Bitter taste in his mouth from the last time the Crimson Tide was on the field.
Yeah.
He's got to find a way to not get beat by 35 again. And,
now,
spent all spring doing it. Maybe he wanted to just get out of town for a couple of days and see his daughter play softball. Who knows? I'm
maybe
just assuming that's what happened.
Maybe that was it. Alexis DeBoer is a first baseman for the University of Washington. And in that Oregon series, and I've looked all this up, she ended up 3-for-11.
That's pretty good at playing baseball, isn't it?
Playing softball, not bad.
Yeah.
Alexis DeBoer, she's a starter. I mean, he's not going up there and watching her sit the bench going across country. She's evidently a very good player.
Yeah.
That's the most plausible thing there. Somebody said, hey, you can have a little family time. I know you've been working hard in spring. It just ended. All the players are headed down to 30A or Panama City Beach or something like that. Why don't you just go ahead and head out? We could use you at the Morgan Wallen concert. And he's like, that's what I'm going with right there.
Huh. Okay. Yeah. I'll go with that. Hey, look, going to go see your daughter play. No big deal.
Okay.
But still, thought it was a little interesting.
I did too.
Because there again, Saban's on College Game Day. They do College Game Day from Tuscaloosa once a year, maybe twice, but at least once a year.
Feels like 3 or 4 times.
Going somewhere else every other Saturday. I know he does a ton, for Nick's kids and the Saban Center and all those things that he's done to make Tuscaloosa and the state a lot better. And
yes.
I applaud him for that. So he still is very much involved. And I will say this, Barry, he had a big smile on his face and they gave the bro hug. And Saban can still jump. He jumped up to tap the wind pole or whatever it is as you come out of the tunnel there at Bryant-Denny.
Morgan Wallen just reached up and tapped it.
Yeah.
Saban had to.
So just an observation that I thought was interesting. There again, there's a columnist that I read, maybe it's today. I'm not sure where it was. I have to look it up. Talking about Auburn naming the field suites the Kick Six field suites. And he went on and on and on about why they named it and another dig at Alabama and blah, 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 whatever. And I thought, well, hey, buddy, can you find out why Kalen DeBoer didn't walk out with Morgan Wallen? Or are we just going to sweep that under the rug? I'd kind of like to know. If he was in Seattle, great. Yep. Or was it in Eugene? Where'd they play that 3
They
games?
played in Eugene.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Just curious minds would like to know.
Also this, and I'm asking John for judgment calls on some of this because he's usually spot on.
Right.
Do you roll Toomer's Corner when the Auburn women's tennis team wins the SEC championship?
There's a difference between do you or will they? Now, yeah, they will. If they haven't already done it, I'm surprised.
They will.
Should they do it?
Heck to the yes. Yes, you got to do it. Also, right, I want this as well.
Problem though, Barry, if they go out there and give some half-ass effort and they got like 3 rolls of toilet paper up there, then that lady tennis team's going to be going, I don't think they really love us around here. Really? That's all we got with 3 rolls?
Now,
if you're going to do it, do it.
This is my other value judgment I'm asking John about. Former Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson, who led the Tide to a 9-win season and a berth in the SEC championship game.
Number 1 seed in the SEC championship, Barry.
He is projected as the number 2 draftable quarterback in the upcoming NFL draft. They love it.
Okay. Yep.
Not as much as they love Fernando Mendoza, but they love Ty Simpson in the NFL. Well, and he did well in the combine and blah, blah, blah. He'll have a couple of more workouts. Been very busy. He took some time out last week to appear on one of his old teammates' podcasts. Everybody's got a podcast these days. Turns out that former teammate is now also going to be a first-round draft choice, Ohio State safety Caleb Downs.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Last week, Simpson appeared on Caleb Downs' podcast. During the interview, Simpson claimed he knew what Indiana was going to do on every snap of that fabled 5-touchdown loss to the Hoosiers in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
In the podcast, Simpson says, I knew what they were going to do defensively on every snap. We just couldn't do anything about it. He told Caleb Downs, quote, from my point of view, I was like, they don't do much. They do the same thing every down. So when I got the ball, I knew exactly what was going to happen. They just didn't mess up, bro. They were in the exact same spot they were supposed to be. They were so well coached. It was so much different than the SEC. In the SEC, they'll play man. They'll do these unorthodox coverages. It's kind of how it is. This game was crazy to me. Of course, I got hurt. That was a bummer. I knew what they were going to do. We couldn't really run the ball. Yeah, we know. We couldn't really run the ball.
Was that really, just that game or the whole season?
We couldn't really run the ball, didn't really throw. It was just so crazy to me how it happened. Well, that was on the podcast, and I don't think he's wrong about any bit of it. That's the thing about Indiana. They were a little bit imaginative, but what they didn't do was make mistakes.
Yeah. You know, Barry, as I heard you read that, I thought to myself, with about 8 seconds to go in a tight NBA game, everybody knew Michael Jordan was getting the ball. I mean, we knew it. Couldn't stop him.
Stop it. Yeah. See, then that's Ty Simpson's point. We knew what they were going to do on defense, but there was nothing to exploit because they were playing everything perfectly. Anyway, it was a. I know. Hang on. This is not it. This is not the whole story. Oh. I mean, that sounds like a compliment to Indiana, right?
Yeah.
Ty Simpson's throwing them some roses. Mm-hmm. Well, the defensive coordinator, who I think was the Broyles Award winner as the assistant coach of the year, his name's Brian Haynes for Indiana. He shared a clip from that podcast on social media, I think Twitter.
Yep.
And Haynes wrote, quote, adorable. We also saw everything they were doing on every single snap. It's just that we exploited those cues and didn't get frozen and crushed by them.
So let me get this straight. We knew everything they were going to do.
Right.
Can't block. Can't open a hole.
Can't run the ball.
Zero running game.
And, on every snap, and every snap, we looked at our cues and we could tell what they were going to do.
Yeah.
Now, and a lot of the people reacted negatively to that. Mm-hmm. They're like, Coach, he was paying you a compliment. I mean, geez, why are you ripping the kid? He was telling you that, look, it didn't matter what we did or what they did. They were out executing us, and you won by 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But he doubled down after that. They were all ripping him on social media for posting that, right? And then he wrote, quote, that's all it took to break your entire fan base? Wow, maybe I should have just said boo. No apologies, no compliments. Grow up, folks. He had a bad take, and I said the painful truth. Bounce back better. Hashtag go IU. Hashtag no compliments. So, I mean, he blew that thing up. Simpson was saying, hey, man, and look, Indiana didn't win the national championship by fooling people. Am I right, John? I mean,
no, they didn't fool anybody.
They came right at you and they outplayed you. They out-executed you. They out-everythinged you. And I guess that's what Ty Simpson was saying. But the defensive coordinator was like, hey, we saw everything you did too. I don't think and when people pointed that out to him, he's like, boo-hoo, Is that all it took to break your entire fan base? Indiana people's talking smack to Alabama people? Oh.
Yeah. More Big Ten humiliation. Stealing players. Running smack. When is it going to stop?
Yeah.
Well, that might be a little harsh, but enticing players to come play for them. How about that?
Yes.
Enticing players to come play for them. See Caleb Downs. See Julian Sayin. See Quay Russaw, among others. Now, I will say this, Barry. I did see a picture, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how Ty. I know how he's going to be dressed. He's going to look really good. Because there's a men's store in Tuscaloosa called Mobley & Son. It was there when I was in school. It's been around for a long time. Chris Mobley does a great job, just some really, really good-looking clothes. And there was a picture of Chris and his staff and Ty Simpson with a garment bag and some other bags that he probably, I know he's going to be taking to Pittsburgh. And so we're looking forward to seeing how sharp he's going to look on draft night. But also, Barry, I saw our friend Danny Canal, former Florida State quarterback, not a big fan of the SEC.
No, he thinks they get too much credit for everything, and he may be right, but he's kind of a jerk about it.
He made a statement in a roundtable discussion that he thinks, and I'm not using the exact terminology, but something to the extent of a green room bust. The guy that's still sitting there in the green room, they haven't called his name. There was a quarterback at Kentucky, I want to say, one year.
Will Levis.
It was supposed to get drafted early, and his girlfriend's getting annoyed.
His girlfriend is beautiful, and, she's all in on Will Levis, and it kept going, and pretty soon she was like.
So Canal's pretty much saying that's going to be Ty Simpson this year. His name's not going to get called as early as people are predicting that it will, and the camera will be over there focusing on him and getting his facial expressions and his disgust of not being selected as soon as maybe people told him he would be.
Right.
I don't know if I subscribe to that or not, but I thought that was interesting that a guy that, likes to throw some shots out toward the SEC from time to time,
a lot,
declared that he thinks Ty Simpson's going to be the green room bust guy this year, that he's not going to get his name called as early as experts are predicting. And then this was his reasoning. I will say this.
I was about to say,
this was some of his reasoning, and I get where he's coming here. There's some guys, Barry, that can play 13, 14, 15 games, and wow, this guy's ready. Cam Newton, never seen him before, played about 12, 13, 14 games. This guy's ready. Canal's logic was Ty Simpson's only played in 15 games. Has a propensity to get hurt. I know he got hurt in the last game. Might have got bummed up mid-season. There was some talk about maybe he was injured in mid-season. Right. So his rationale was injury-prone, and the sample size is only 15 games. Is that worthy of a top 15 selection in the first round of the NFL draft? I'm not going to go as far as a Ryan Leaf, Peyton Manning kind of thing, but it would not surprise me if he is selected a little later rather than earlier in the draft. One thing that I just think, I wouldn't wish this on anybody, and I know you've got a friend that's a huge Cleveland Browns fan, but
my man Gunner, yep.
Cleveland. But Cleveland's allegedly got like the 6th and the 24th pick or something like a later pick, talking about they might pick him with that second pick in the first round, or maybe it's early second. I don't know what the exact number of the pick, but it's like they got an early pick and then went a little bit, later on. I want to say in the high 20s.
Right.
They might pick him there. And I'm thinking, ooh, Oh, I wouldn't wish anybody to get picked. How many quarterbacks have the Browns been through in the last 15?
Oh, my gosh. Gunner could tell you every one of them, but goodness, there have been a ton. My only thing, and I think Simpson can be fine. Again, to me, he is like that cookie cutter Alabama legacy quarterback. John Parker Wilson, A.J. McCarron, John David Phillips, Brian Bergdorf. I mean, he's like all of those guys. Here's my only thing, and I like the kid. I mean, I've defended him from all the Bama people who said, thank God she's going, whatever. I like the kid, but it's all about fit. I don't think that he is a quarterback that can elevate a bad team to good. It's the same thing with Brady. Tom Brady would not have had the career he's had if he didn't fall into an absolutely perfect scenario. So. Brady took a good team and made them, 7-time Super Bowl champions. He took a poor Tampa Bay team and they won a title with him. But Simpson, if he's in the right spot, he can take an average team or a slightly above average team and elevate them. He ain't the guy that's going to take a bad team. He's not going to be a guy that's going to take a 4-13 team and make them, 10-7 or something like that. He ain't that guy. But if he's got a good team, if he's got pieces around him, he could be a good NFL quarterback.
We'll see. I mean, I think that's a huge part of it. I got to see where he lands because right now, bottom line, I'm thinking, I'm not sold this guy is going to be a starter in the NFL. Mm-hmm. If he's on the right team, maybe.
We're rooting for him, but
I'm rooting for him. Barry, I'm the guy that, caught a little flack with, Ty, it's time to move on. Don't need to come back.
Yeah.
Time to go ahead and move on. I'm a big fan of Ty Simpson as well, the way he conducts himself. He's a great ambassador for the school.
Fine Christian, all that.
Sir. Just everything you want. Now, no problems with him.
Also, again, coming up, the Phantoms Daily Dog, Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland 777 topic, Will. But we need to fully address this because this came from Ty early on, and everything Ty does is early on. He said, I'm wondering if John is still as confident about taking the over for Auburn wins this season after seeing the A-Day game on Saturday. Looks like we'll have quarterback issues again. What was the number, John? What was the win total?
6.5.
6.5. John says he'll take it over. We'll address that a little more.
I need some time on this one. I got have a little bit more time to break this one down. Yeah.
CBSSports.com. Brandon Marcello weighs in on the Auburn win total. We'll talk about that as well when we come back. Okay. Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry is Central Alabama's best-known jewelry store. Their location at 8163 Vaughn Road in Peppertree is conveniently located adjacent to Chappie's Deli. At Marguerite's, they have every jewelry item imaginable because they make it. They really make it. From rings, necklaces, bracelets, earrings, and much, much more. Marguerite's can also repair, clean, and rework any jewelry item that you want to bring back to life. Whether you're on a budget or have no budget at all, Marguerite's has all types of jewelry for everyone. Go by and see them today or call 270-0074. The Destin Connection Seafood Market at 3750 Norman Bridge Road in Montgomery has the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of America. I'm talking red snapper and grouper, all sizes of Gulf shrimp, jumbo lump crab meat and crab claws, Louisiana Bay oysters, and New Bedford scallops. They are a full-service seafood market and kitchen serving po' boys, dinners, and sandwiches. Many well-known restaurants in the river region purchase their seafood from the Destin Connection because they know it's the absolute best. Call ahead and your order will be ready for pickup. The Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Call 288-4272. That's 288-4272. All right, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us here today on Longshore and McKnight. Tobias with some great takes on the River Region Straw chat line as always. Really appreciate him as well. And he mentions Byron Brown.
Yes.
And of course, he didn't have his greatest day statistically. A couple of picks.
Golesh said that. He said, I didn't think he was great today. Of course, every time he started to run, the referees blew it dead and all that. But, it didn't reflect what a good spring he'd had by the way he played. I get that. Tristan Tia, the backup quarterback, played pretty good, but didn't play a lot against the ones.
So, the running is an aspect I'm going to factor in here. But what do you say we get to the daily dog first?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
But this already tells me something.
Oh.
I already get the vibe here. Oh. When John, coming out of the commercial break, John says, yeah, whatever programming. Well, let's go to the dog. Let's go to the daily dog. There have been times whenever it's been more like, oh, have we not? I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Today's
Barry, Friday night, I was channel surfing around, and the wife and I were sitting there just, kind of winding the night up, not a little too early to go to bed. And I stumble upon the Magic Hornet NBA game. She goes, are we going to watch this?
He either bebops into things or he stumbles upon things. Yeah.
And she looks at me and says, are we going to watch this? And I went, I tell you what, honey, let me pour you another glass of wine. You just enjoy that. And I'll watch the game. Okay. How about that? She goes, why are you watching this game? I said, this is the Phantom's daily dog. Are you kidding me? Heck yeah, we're watching this game for a minute. So, Barry, we started the week off a little rocky, losing on Monday and Tuesday, but winning on Wednesday and Thursday to even things at 500.
Friday was the big day. Is it a winning week or is it a
non-winning week?
Winning week.
So, Barry, we had the Orlando Magic at home catching 3.5. And when I stumbled upon the game, there was like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and the Magic was up by like 30. As a matter of fact, they ended up winning by 31.
They led from start to finish. Magic, bear in mind, Orlando is the number 8 seed. The Pistons, the number 1 seed. And the Pistons.
No, this was against the Hornets. This was against the Hornets. This was Friday night.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'm glad you caught me on that one. That's exactly right. Against the Hornets.
Yeah. They played the Pistons last night in Detroit and beat them.
And they won that one by 11. That is true. That is all correct.
But Friday night, to get to go to Detroit.
They
were catching 3. When are people going to wake up on this Magic team? A home team dog, and they win by 31? And that, of course, resulted in a winning week for the Phantom. And there were a lot of people there again, as usual, taking a couple of little shots earlier in the week. That's okay. That's no big deal. We get it. We'll take it. All right.
Meanwhile, Detroit had been sitting around, getting fat and happy, resting and everything. Magic came in, primed and ready after winning that game on Friday. Yes.
Huge. You're right. Number 1 seed Detroit going down at home last night. Saw some of that game too, actually.
Yeah.
Didn't watch a little Trailblazer Spurs till it got out of hand.
That's you.
I'm telling you, the NBA now, look, there's more pushing, griping. This Detroit-Orlando game, a couple of players are asking the ref, are you kidding me? I mean, they're talking to the refs.
It's more physical than the Alabama offensive line, for goodness sakes, once you get to the playoffs.
Yeah. It's good. That little kid told Kareem in the movie Airplane.
Yeah.
Says y'all only turn it up during the playoffs.
Yeah, and it didn't sound legitimate when Roger Murdoch said the word buns.
Yeah.
I bust my buns every night.
That didn't go over well.
No.
But I tell you, the game's
nobody
good.
in the NFL and the NBA says buns.
Just give it a try. I know, it's an acquired taste, this NBA thing, particularly in the playoffs. So Barry, tonight, we're going to go back to the NBA. And we're going to a game. It's an NBC. Watch this game on NBC tonight. I watched it last night. NBC's carried a ton of NBA. And this will be the second game of the night.
Okay.
Atlanta Hawks will be playing the New York Knicks in Madison Square Garden, and the Knicks lead this series 1-0. 1-0.
They win by 11 in game one. Knicks are a 3 seed. Hawks are a 6 seed, and they've been playing really well. 7 o'clock tonight from MSG on NBC.
That's exactly right, Barry. The Hawks are down. They don't need to fall further down to 0-2, which they could. I mean, hate it for them if they do.
Happens, it happens.
But it is crunch time, not major league crunch time, but it's a little pressure on the Hawks.
Serious.
And they're catching 6 at the Garden tonight against the Knicks. I think they can keep it within the 6. So we're going to take the Hawks plus 6 at the Knicks tonight, 7 o'clock. First of a NBC doubleheader tonight, followed by Minnesota at Denver. The T-Wolves at the Nuggets is the late game. Whew, I'd hate to be the local news crew, Barry. Man, they won't do that 10 o'clock news till about midnight. Oh, that's tough. I hate it.
All right. There we go.
Yeah. No, wait a minute. I heard a it comes across you don't like that selection.
Oh, I like to pick. I just know, and you do too, television local newscasters who are sitting there going, oh my gosh, can we get this game over?
And then it goes to overtime. You got to factor that in too.
Yeah.
Overtime.
I was just that was for all of the local sportscasters who John has accurately characterized with late sports action.
So Ty wants to know my thoughts about Auburn.
Here's something to bear in mind. Again, what is the posted total that you have offered?
6.5
wins for Auburn. The posted total is 6.5. John says he'll take the over. Our friend Brandon Marcello, who is a college football writer for CBSSports.com. We both like him very much. Does good work. He came out last week with his SEC bold predictions for 2026.
Okay.
LSU gets off to a sluggish start. Arch Manning leads Texas to the promised land, blah, blah, blah. He says this about Auburn. And the subhead right next to the interlocking AU logo on his Auburn opinion is Auburn. Alex Golesh wins 8 games. And he writes this, John, CBSSports.com. He writes this. The 2020s have been absolute hell for Auburn. The Tigers haven't had a winning season since 2020, the year they fired Gus Malzahn, and the ensuing run with frustratingly bad fits, Brian Harsin and Hugh Freeze, provided more fodder than good memories. The program hasn't been this bad since the 1940s. And he says, look it up.
That's even before my time.
But that changes this fall as the second half of the decade dawns with first-year coach Alex Golesh. Finally, Auburn has a coach who isn't defiantly arrogant or out of place or checked out on the golf course. Golesh brought along the best pieces from his USF team a year ago, including severely underrated quarterback Byram Brown. Expectations are low outside Auburn, but with a competent coach and an exciting offense led by a veteran quarterback surrounded by a cast of newcomers hungry to prove they belong, the Tigers will take advantage of a navigable schedule to win 8 games for the first time since 2019.
I don't know if I could go to 8. 7 seems more comfortable for me at this moment. I mean, I don't want to bring up the stats that we talked about months ago about Central Florida.
South Florida.
Or
usually when John doesn't want to bring up the stats, get ready because here comes some stats.
Because actually I don't have them handy. So my friends on the River Region Straw VIP chat line who sent those to me months ago, you can send them back. But I mean, wins against top 25 programs.
Yeah.
Rare.
Now,
overall game stats, not great, but I'm not a big stat guy anyway.
But he's not talking about winning the SEC championship or going to the college. He's talking about going 8-4.
Yeah. Well, I'm just wondering, even though all of these former South Florida players are coming up, when they were in Tampa, they didn't ever beat anybody good. They beat a lot of also-rans. So, the history tells us that they're just, I know, Golish took over a program that was 1-9, and they ended up winning, 8 games or something 3 years later. But, as I always say, who they beat. But I will say this, back to Ty's question. And, Barry, here's the problem.
All right.
I do think Auburn's going to be better. I think the product you see on the field will be encouraging and make Auburn fans feel better about their program. Will that equate to 8-9 wins? I don't know. But I think they can get over the 6.5 mark. I mean, they're going to jump into it, kind of settle in with Baylor and Southern Miss. And I think those are two really good games to kind of get things started with, because Baylor should give them a little bit of a challenge, but they're not going to beat Auburn. I mean, little challenge there, feel good about themselves, come back, blow Southern Miss out, got 2 games under their belt, kind of feel good about it. Then Florida, get into that SEC action, but it's at home. So is the next one against Vanderbilt. So the first 4, they can kind of, find their oats, as they will. Then they got to go to Knoxville. Then they got to go to Athens. Then they got LSU rolling in. Then they got to go to Oxford. That 4-game stretch, pretty tough. Pretty tough there. Alabama at the end of the year. Arkansas and Mississippi State should be manageable. But I can definitely see 7 wins. 8, I'm not opposed to. 9, I think, is a reach. If he wins 9 games, they'll be rolling Toomer's corner.
Over and over again.
Particularly if he wins that last one.
Ooh.
But to me, 7 wins is definitely attainable. 8, I could buy that. I'd have to do a little bit more you have to sell me on it a little bit more. 9, I think, would be extraordinary.
Extraordinary. Now, here's what he has to say, just in case anybody wants to know what Brandon Marcello has to say on CBSSports.com about Alabama.
Well, heck. I mean, now that you mention it, sure.
Alabama, Tide surprises exceeds expectations.
Oh, okay.
And I quote, Kalen DeBoer might not feel it, but let's face it, he's on the hot seat.
You saw that Saturday night at the Morgan Wallen concert.
It's been a while since Alabama had such low expectations among odds makers, with books listing an over-under win total of 8.5 for the upcoming season. If he falls below 8 wins, do you foresee a situation in which he returns for a 3rd season as the Tide's coach? Well, he already is in his 3rd season as Tide coach. Luckily for him, we're going out on a limb and forecasting a 10 or 11 win regular season. Quarterback Keelan Russell has not yet officially been named the starter, but he should win the job in August. He was impressive in the spring and provides an additional dynamic that Ty Simpson simply did not. Simply put, he fits offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb's designs. The Tide has plenty of time to warm up in September, and the schedule sets up a 10-win goal with road trips to Tennessee and to LSU as the toughest away from Bryant-Denny Stadium. Adding 40 new players, but missing out on NC State running back Hollywood Smothers gives us pause. But that schedule and Grubb's history of developing quarterbacks are enough this fall. End quote.
Well, I'll say this. I do think Ryan Grubb finally has a quarterback that's a little bit more to his liking. one that he's a type of quarterback he's coached before, athletic, able to run, a running threat, as well as being able to pass the ball efficiently.
That additional dynamic.
So I think that's going to be big. And it's finally, I think Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb, there again, have a quarterback that fits their system. I don't think Jalen Milroe did. I don't think Ty Simpson did. But I think the schedule also is in Alabama's favor. We talked about it. I mean, the first 5 games, they should be 5-0. And if they're not, they got big troubles. East Carolina at Kentucky. I'm hearing a lot about Kentucky, but, might be a tighter game than it needs to be. Florida State, what happened last year, and there's not a lot of expectations for the Seminoles. South Carolina, when they're playing them earlier in the year, could be a little tough, but winnable. Mississippi State, winnable. But then you got Georgia.
Ooh.
You go to Knoxville.
Right.
You got A&M in Tuscaloosa. You go to Baton Rouge. Those 4 right there are going to tell the tale of the tape. Vandy, Chattanooga, Auburn should be able to beat them. They're playing Auburn in Tuscaloosa. So to me, Barry, that stretch, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas A&M, and LSU are going to be, if they win 10 games, that's where they got to do it right there in that 4-game stretch. Tennessee, I think they can win that game in Knoxville. A&M and I don't know.
A&M strong.
Yeah, LSU. There's a lot of hype there. Historically, they've played well in Baton Rouge. I mean, are they going to beat Georgia again? Really? If Kirby Smart loses to Kalen DeBoer again.
Oof. Well, and by the way, let's take a break. We'll have one more break after this one. Set up the Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel. So a short segment coming up.
Yep.
By the way, he's got Texas winning the national championship. Maybe so. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, folks, how often do you think about your roof? Probably not often at all. I know I didn't until I needed a roof replacement. And I call my friends at Roof Life. Whether it's roof inspections, roof repair, or insurance roof replacement, Roof Life is there for you. They use the highest quality products, top quality craftsmanship, and if you're like me, your roof can be replaced in one day. So if you're in need of a roof inspection, roof repair, or insurance roof replacement, get in touch with my friends at Roof Life today. You can go to roofyourlife.com. That's roofyourlife.com, or dial them up locally at 334-306-6712. That's 334-306-6712.
It's Ram Truck Month at Stivers, Alabama's #1 volume CDJR dealer. New Rams $20,000 off or 0% for 6 years, and heavy duties $12,000 off. Backed by Ram's 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Only at Stivers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. The Declaration of Deals sales event is on at Stivers, Alabama's #1 volume CDJR dealer. Grand Cherokees, Grand Cherokee L's, and Gladiators up to $15,000 off, and Wranglers $13,000 off. Only at Stivers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram.
All righty, welcome back in, everybody. About 18 minutes to the top of the hour here with Longshore and McKnight. Barry, have you watched a minute of UFL football? I mentioned the Stallions earlier today.
Have not.
Me either.
Have not. No.
Well, maybe 30 seconds.
No.
I don't get it. I really don't. I mean, glad Birmingham's got a team, but nobody's at the game. You would
not championship level.
No, not even close. I'm a big ratings guy. I would love to know what the UFL ratings are. I'm channel surfing last night. There's something called FS2. It's Fox Sports 2. They have a Fox Sports 1. That's what Cowherd's on FS1. I'm thinking, did they just have some intern in there going, okay, now listen, at 8:00 Sunday night, push that button. We're replaying the Stallions Orlando Renegade game. And it was on last night. And I'm thinking, I know it doesn't cost much. They're just beaming it up to a satellite, putting it up there. I mean, it's better than a test pattern.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, really?
They just They just played at home for the first time all year.
Yeah.
They were 1-2. They've lost 2 in a row. They're finally at Protective Stadium against the Orlando Storm.
Sorry.
On Saturday, and they lose 16-0.
Ooh.
They get shut out. A.J. McCarron in his home opener. It was terrible. Matt Corral threw for 80. Matt Corral's the Stallions quarterback.
The Otis says there were 18,000 at the game.
16,000.
Were they counting by threes?
16,000 is what I got.
I don't know about that. There were more people at the Widespread Panic concert Friday night than there were at the Stallions game.
After the game, Birmingham Stallions head coach A.J. McCarron says, "I can tell you, and it was awful. It was terrible. We were horrible. It was bad."
Jay might have been thinking, maybe I should have run for lieutenant governor. Huh?
You'd have a better chance. Oh, well, I don't even know that.
This coaching thing's kind of tough, but
the deal is, and this is the way it looks. This is how the couple of Birmingham Stallions fans that I know, and I do know a couple.
Really? Oh, wow.
A.J. McCarron is outmatched. He does not know what he's doing. He never has coached before.
No.
And he's in over his head.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, like I said, I don't watch.
They won championships under Skip Holtz, and they still didn't draw then.
No, they didn't.
Now they have the DC Defenders coming into Protective Stadium in Birmingham this weekend. They play Friday night at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
7 o'clock Friday?
Barry, back in the USFL days, they played Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. It's awesome.
They have Friday games. This is their second Friday game. They've had a couple of Sunday games. Their shutout against the Storm was on Saturday. They play on Friday again. They play on Sunday in week 6. Barry,
I'd forgotten about this one. Bobby Humphrey was the head coach of the Birmingham Steel Dogs. I vaguely remember that.
Wasn't that where Trent Richardson played, or was it the Birmingham Iron? I don't know.
Were the Steel Dogs arena football?
Yeah,
is that still a thing? Do they still play arena football? I hadn't seen that in a while. I don't think that's even around anymore.
Well,
arena football. I hate it for the Stallions, but
they're bad. They were bad, Sean.
That's not
good.
They
were really, really bad, and the fans showed their displeasure by not attending.
I wonder, what's the max crowd at Protective? 40?
What's the capacity?
Yeah, 40 maybe. I'm thinking.
We were there for the for the Birmingham Bowl against Duke. The capacity is 47,100.
Whoa. They think they're going to get 47,000 people to see a UAB game?
No.
I wonder, Barry, were there more people at the Stallions game over the weekend than any UAB game last fall?
Oh, I don't know.
I hear all this chirping about UAB football, and
well, let's take a break.
Yeah. How do they afford to put a team on the field? What's their travel expense? Who's paying for all this?
All right, that's 3 questions back to back to back. I ain't doing it. Longshore and McKnight, in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with one of their clinics and take advantage of physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solution services. Get back in the game, get back to work, and get back to life with Phoenix Physical Therapy. To find a location near you and to schedule an appointment, go to phoenixphysicaltherapy.com. That's phoenixphysicaltherapy.com.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
All righty, welcome back in. It is about 10 minutes to the top of the hour.
Nice.
And this is usually when we get into the Gurn Junior Victoryland 777 topic wheel. We do not know what these topics are. We're seeing them for the first time as you are. Right. We'll discuss them and break them down as well.
Well, all brought to you by Victoryland 777 Casino, exit 22, I-85 in Shorter, Alabama. Stuck on C. That's John's academic career.
C. Yeah. What's wrong with that? Yeah, I'm in.
Virginia Tech spring game. They had what? No, hit it. No. Your angle. It's all wrong. The wind is all wrong. You gotta turn the parachute around.
You think he's figured that out about now? He's thinking, this isn't going well.
He did get hurt. No. Oh. Now he's okay. He was at the hospital and everything, but it took him about 20, 30 minutes to get him down. You can imagine it ain't easy. You just can't run somebody over there. But this is pregame. They had to delay the start of their spring game because the paratrooper hit the video board, hit the C on Tech. That's why he was stuck on C. It should have said "this is embarrassing," not "this is home" on the video board. Yeah, and okay. So now they got to bring up. I guess they brought up one of those cherry pickers that you use to work on telephone lines.
I think they did.
Yeah, there they go. Yeah, it was pretty serious.
It doesn't. It looks pretty rough.
It took them a long time, and they finally got the right piece of equipment. This guy ain't making it. The ladder truck, no, that ain't.
Barry, I think that guy's probably not going to do that again or be asked to
I imagine so. I guarantee you that eagle that hit the front of the skybox on the Eagle flight at Jordan-Hare Stadium, I think they took that eagle out of rotation there. John had some people that were actually in that box on that eagle.
My nephew was in the box that the eagle hit or flew in. Didn't I've got a big window at our house, and I noticed there was kind of like a little feather on it, and I thought, I think a bird hit that.
Yeah. All right. So that's one. That's a good one. Stuck on C.
Stuck on C.
This one, we roll it again. Comeback. Yep. Big comeback. Don't call it a comeback.
Comeback.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if we can get this done here. We may be stuck on comeback.
We got to. Where's the WD-40?
Reach over. Can we get across here?
Here we go.
Yeah. Tyler Reddick is the first NASCAR driver to win 5 of the first 9 races. He drives for the Michael Jordan team, and he was way back in there. A couple of things about it. Tyler Reddick is having a great start. He's won 5 times in 9 races. He's in second place. And he comes back and he wins that thing. Watch this move. Here he comes. He's number 45. Makes a move on the inside. And I mean, he'd been trying to reel in drivers from the start. All right, trade a little paint.
Yep.
And so there you go. That's Tyler Reddick. The other thing, this was in Kansas. At the Kansas Speedway, John, Kansas City. It was about half. It was a little bit more than half full. Why do they have Kansas on the NASCAR circuit? That's the thing that NASCAR people have complained about that because you're having NASCAR races where there's no NASCAR fans. New Hampshire, Kansas or the Kansas Speedway out in California. It just give me North Wilkesboro.
Yeah.
Give me Darlington.
I'm with you.
Give me Bristol.
Give me some old school.
I'm with you. Well, they love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Whatever happened to those? I feel sorry for those tracks that aren't around anymore. They got Hollywood. They got
trying to. All right. They're coming.
What could this be about?
I don't know. Sounds like a 1950s horror movie. Oh yeah, they had robots running a half marathon in Beijing. This robot, I think this robot ran like 50 seconds better than number 2, which is a lot. I'd love to scroll up just a little bit. This is a robot half marathon. I want to see this go up just a little bit to this robot right here. Robot crashed out. Right there, across the finish line. Didn't realize the board was there, I guess.
Well, they can't see everything, I guess.
Last year, the winning robot finished in 2 hours, 40 minutes, and 42 seconds. This year, 50 minutes and 26 seconds. That's like an hour better. Faster than the human world record from Jacob Kiplomo. Robots running. Surprisingly, John, I mean, when you and I were watching the Jetsons, Rosie, she just had like a tank track. You know, it just kind of
yep.
They got these things with legs, and it ain't bad. I mean, they.
I always wondered how Rosie got upstairs or anything like that. But
no kidding.
But
same thing with that robot on Lost in Space. You never saw danger.
Yeah, that's right.
So watch out. Robots are taking over the world.
They really are. You got to be. Yeah. No kidding. All right, those some good ones. What else we got left? What else was on the wheel? 4 more to go. No way. Wow. Okay, man.
Here we are.
Let's see what we have here next.
They're coming.
3 to go. Blue, red, yellow. There again, have not seen these. These are new to us.
Wire to wire.
Huh.
What have we got? Oh, yeah, this is the one I was talking about. The Pistons have now lost 11 straight playoff home games. Number 1 in the conference, number 1 seed, Magic's the egg.
Yeah.
Jalen Suggs, former Gonzaga player, hit a 3 at the beginning. Magic not only win in Detroit, but again, hence the title from Gurn Jr., they never trailed.
Never trail.
They beat the heck out of them.
So I noticed last night, Barry, on the Magic's uniform, does Disney own the Magic? Because they have a Disney logo on their jerseys.
I don't think so. I think they're a sponsor. There's Banchero and Desmond Bain. Yeah. It says they're 2 of 5 Pistons to score in double figures. That's wrong. They play for the Magic. But, yeah, the Pistons have lost 11 straight home playoff games. That doesn't ever happen. Pistons are good. That is the longest streak in the NBA in history. Man. Unbelievable.
That wouldn't have happened back in the day.
No, Rick Mahorn would have gotten one of those guys out of there on a stretcher.
Joe Dulars,
Lame Beer would have sucker punched somebody.
Yeah,
They'd have done something, John. Yeah. You are not wrong. All right, 2 more.
All right, who else we got? Let's see. 2 more on the Gurn Jr.
left.
Triple topic wheel.
All right.
I bet it's red and blue. Yep, there it is.
Always.
Yep. See what we got.
Kind of like solid streak. But this is money management. Boy, does the Phantom believe in that.
Very important.
2 of the most important words in Phantom Enterprises. The Eagles, for some reason, they're getting rid of A.J. Brown, who's a really good receiver, except he makes a lot of money. They're talking about the Patriots. Their salary cap, they'll take a $40 million cap hit when they trade him. If they wait until after June, they can split that cap hit before June. It'll go the whole 40. So they're going to wait a little while. But the Patriots are probably the team that A.J. Brown can come to. Vrabel coached A.J. Brown with the Titans, would like to again. Patriots obviously were really good last year, but they need another big-time receiver.
Are the Patriots getting a new head coach, or is it just that woman that he was having an affair with?
It's just
fired?
the woman. It's just the woman. She's out at the Athletic, Diana Rossini. It's unethical both ways, but it's a little bit more unethical. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. Here we go. Solid streak.
Solid streak.
Wraps up the Gurn Jr.
Got to
Victoryland
spin it to make it
777
official. It
yes.
will land on.
Another 11-game losing streak.
Yeah.
Not just the Pistons at home in the playoffs. The Mets. They're now tied with the Kansas City Royals for the worst record in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And again, they spent $1 billion in the offseason.
I'm sure the Braves will probably be playing this team about 5 or 6 times in the next week.
Yeah, Cubs win. Cubs win at home in extras. The Mets are an 11. They are tied for the worst team in the major leagues, and they're like the Dodgers. They spent a bunch of money. The difference is the Dodgers are like 18-3. So,
well, Barry, as I like to tell people a lot during this time of year, it's a long season. I mean, long season. A lot of baseball still to be played.
There we go. So, that's our Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel brought to you by Victoryland 777 Casino. And that's our live show for our Monday edition of the program.
Hey, tomorrow, Brian Matthews, AuburnSports.com will join us. We'll recap the Auburn A-Day game and a lot of other Auburn athletics. Find out if the tennis team had Tumor's Corner rolled in their honor.
Yeah.
Also, Travis Ryer on YouTube, Talking Tide. We'll talk to Travis tomorrow as well. And, of course, your thoughts and opinions on our River Region Straw chat line. You can email us, longshoreandmcknight@gmail.com. We got a lot to do tomorrow. We're looking forward to it.
For John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.